All right, guys. So we are live. So, guys, we are a little 2 minutes late. Let me get my stuff ready. Wait for some people to be notified. My notes ready. All right. So let's see. Make sure. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is LaShawn Jacobs with the Notary Institution. I coach and mentor Notary Signing Agents on how they can have a successful Notary Signing Agent business. Today's video, we're actually going to go over exactly with taxes, filing taxes, for Notary Signing Agents. There's different questions about taxes that Notary Signing Agents have. I will be bringing on my special guest, Eric. Hello, everyone. Yes, I see y'all in the comments. So, yes, I'm bringing on Eric. He's going to introduce himself and he's going to be answering some questions today. So, let me just bring him on for everyone. Hello, Eric.
How you doing?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. So, welcome, Eric. Just introduce yourself, tell the audience who you are and what you're going
My
to talk about today.
okay. My name is Eric Anderson. I'm the owner of Anderson Financial Consulting here in Manor, Texas, right outside of Austin. And today, I believe we're going to talk about the different types of write-offs and what it means to have a notary business and how that affects you tax-wise.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So here, I have a few questions, Eric. I'm going to ask you. Anyone, if you have any questions, make sure you type them in the comments. I will get around to answering your questions. So the first question I have is, do notary signing do notary signing agents pay taxes on income that they earn? If so, what is the formula or factors to determine how much to pay in taxes?
Okay. So, like almost any other business, you're going to pay taxes on whatever your profits are. So the most important thing is to be able to make sure that you write off all your expenses, keep track of all your revenue, and then what's left in profit is the part that you pay taxes on. With most sole proprietors or LLCs, it's going to be on your Schedule C.
Okay. Next question. How do notary signing agents pay taxes?
They would pay it on their Schedule C on their personal 1040 return.
Okay, so just for clarification purposes, for my people, what
Okay.
is a Schedule C?
Okay, so I said it just really quickly a second ago.
Yeah.
So when someone is a sole proprietor or a regular LLC, they do what's called a Schedule C in their regular tax return. And so what that is, instead of getting a W-2 from an employer, you get a 1099, or if you are not contracted through anyone where you're a business that's collecting revenue, that revenue goes on what's called the Schedule C. And then there are certain write offs, depending on what type of business that you have, that also go on that Schedule C to bring your revenue down to either a profit or a loss on your business. That
Okay.
Schedule C, the number from that then goes on the first page of your 1040. And again, depending on if your business is profitable or taking a loss, that affects your AGI on your return, and you pay taxes on that.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So I won't hop into the comments because I have some questions here. This question will come on the screen.
Mm.
Um, how do I claim a home office deduction without paying additional taxes when I sell my home in a few years?
Okay. So the part that I think that you're talking about when you're talking about claiming the home deduction without paying additional taxes means if you are doing the depreciation on your home. So that's if you have a rental property, or if you are doing the home business deduction and you are writing off uh, depreciation on your home, then when you sell your home, you could possibly have to put the depreciation back into the sale of your home on the gains of the house. So with most clients, when we do that, either someone who has rental property or has a business use of their home, we usually do not do the depreciation.
Okay. All right. So hopefully Kay settles. He was able to answer your question. If not, I know Eric is. You have an email and everything, right? That you gave me
Yes, I do.
that people can reach out to you.
Mhm.
Okay. Next question is: I heard that people write off clothing purchases as a business image cost. Is that legal?
So you can only write off business. I mean, you can only write off clothing if you have clothing that actually has your business logo on it, such as what I have
Oh,
on.
really? I didn't know
Yes,
that.
yes. Because if you, or unless it's clothing that is specifically used for your business. So, like, I have clients who do like construction work and stuff like that, where they have to buy boots or a certain type of clothing. They can write that off, but mostly it is clothing that has your actual business logo on it. One way of thinking of it, let's say I'm a real estate agent and I say that I have to buy suits and all that stuff for my business. It's really not a write-off because you can wear those suits outside of your business as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Oh,
can
okay.
write off the
Well,
dry cleaning.
oh, so you can't write off the dry cleaning. That's
Can't write off
something
dry cleaning.
awesome. I didn't know about that.
Mhm.
So guys, get some shirts made and you can write them off for your taxes. So one more question from the comments. I'm not sure this was asked. Do I need a separate business account at my bank for my business?
Yes, you do.
Yep. That's what I tell everyone. Make a separate account.
As soon
Make
as
sure you keep
possible.
everything separate.
Yeah, because it'll help you. It'll help your accountant when at the end of the year, because a lot of people think that you need to keep receipts, but most of the clients that I have, they just come in with their bank statements because a lot of people don't use cash anymore. So almost everything that you do is done with your debit card or a check. So people can just come in with their business accounts, and we can do that to get all their revenue and expenses. And
Okay.
if you have it commingled together, it's really hard to figure out what part of your bank account is business and what part of your bank account is personal.
Okay. So the sooner the better to have an account. So let me ask you a
Soon as
question.
possible.
What if someone didn't set up their account right away and they was because a lot of people when they start the notary business, they do start, just with their regular account and then
Hmm.
they start getting checks and they start cashing those checks in their personal account. So
Yeah.
what would they have to do in that case?
So they need to keep track of that. They need to keep an Excel spreadsheet or a Quickbooks or something like that, just so they can keep that separately. Again, a lot of people come in with that Excel spreadsheet that shows their actual revenue and then have receipts, or some people do, however, they bring in both and they just have them marked off on the bank statements that say what is business and what's personal.
Okay, awesome.
But you definitely
Um,
want to do that as soon as possible. But again, I can understand that. That's almost like saying, should I do a DBA or should I do an LLC? If you're
yes.
just first starting your business out, you don't know if it's going to be successful or not. I don't mean to say it that way, but that's the absolute truth. And so the first thing you want to do is make sure your business is going to be profitable before you start spending a lot of money on the business. And
Okay,
things like an
so
LLC and a separate bank account and stuff like that are added expenses.
okay, and you did just answer someone's question about with the DBA or the LLC because someone did ask in not in this video but earlier today in another video they did ask about should they set up first a DBA or LLC because they wasn't sure if that was something they was going to do full time and they
Exactly.
didn't want to go get an LLC, that's not something they want to do. So definitely a DBA, doing business as is, correct?
So is everybody here in Texas or no?
No,
Okay.
everyone is
So I'm
definitely
just
all
going to tell
over.
you,
We have
I'm just going to give you
Georgia.
the Texas numbers because I have clients in other states, and when we talk about doing LLC paperwork, doing S corp and stuff like that, franchise taxes in all different in every state, the numbers are different. So I'm just going to tell you the numbers in Texas. To do a DBA in Texas is about $20, and to do an LLC in Texas is $300. To
Mm.
actually be an LLC in California, where you have to fill out a franchise tax report, that's $800 a year to actually have to do that. Yeah, I see your face. So
Yeah,
that's
that's a big
why
break.
it's really important to understand if this is something that you really want to do, because, like I said before, it can get rather expensive to go from a sole proprietor or a DBA to an LLC. Even when you do an LLC, you have to fill out a franchise tax report every year. And like I said, depending on what state you're in, there are states that charge you even annually to fill out that reform, that
Mhm.
that report every year. So if it's something that you're just doing part time and getting started in, I would definitely do a DBA to start it, get an EIN number and all of that, so you're not using your social security number, but then go along, and then once you see that it's successful and something that you want to do, then I would go ahead and spend the money to become an LLC.
Okay, awesome. That is great information. That was a lot, actually, what you said. Let's see. Should I register my business? Okay, hold on. So she said, should I register my business with the state in the state of Florida? I was told that I needed in order to start a business account.
Yes. So depending on the bank, almost all banks here in Texas, you have to actually be an LLC. You have to do a certificate of formation, which is setting up as an LLC in order to even open up a bank account. So if
Right,
that's the
right.
case at the bank that that person is going to in Florida, they are going to make you get your LLC. Some even make you have an operating agreement and an EIN number to actually open up a business account. So when we were talking before about should you open up a business account, that's a reason why a lot of people don't start out with a business account, because a lot of banks around here won't let you open up a business account if you're not an LLC.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's well, you're right about that. There's a few banks I know that'll let you open it with the DBA here.
Yep.
Not a lot of them though.
Nope.
Not a lot of them. So someone said this, let me see. When should we register for a woman-owned, minority-owned certification?
Probably as soon as you get your LLC, as soon as possible.
Okay. And okay, so let's go back to my question. So, what expenses should a notary signing agent keep track of?
So for most notaries, to my knowledge, the biggest expenses are going to be obviously travel and your supplies. You guys have to have a license every year, right? You have to have a certification.
Yeah, well, well, the commission is every 4 years, but
Mhm.
once we get into the notary signing agent side, there's things that we have to purchase, every year. So
Exactly.
some states it's training, the background check. It's just different states have different requirements on what the people have to purchase, every year.
Exactly. So all those things you can write off, as well as your mileage. So you need to keep track of that. Um, all that stuff we just talked about would be taxes and licenses or office expenses. Um, it's pretty much it. If you're hiring somebody to either help you or a professional like an accountant or somebody like that, you can write off professional fees. Um, a lot of people get in trouble, especially nowadays, because they believe that if they're riding around, quote unquote, working, that they can write off meals, and that's
Mm.
not always the case. Meals are only if you are actually on an actual meeting with a client, or if you travel here in Texas, it's outside of 80 miles from your office.
Mm. Wow, I didn't know that. I guess it's a lot of clarification there for people.
Hmm.
Let me see.
And
How
you can also, I'm
oh,
sorry, and you can also write off your cell phone. I'm not sure if you can write off a percentage of your cell phone. I'm not really sure if you guys have websites, if you're doing any
yep.
type of advertising, all that stuff. Like if you're advertising your business on Facebook, you can write that off. If you have certain websites that you're paying for, you can write all that stuff off as well.
Okay, yeah, we have a lot of different websites that we have signed up, that you sign up for, and we pay like a yearly fee
Hmm.
for those websites, some of them a monthly fee, but there is paid a whole lot of paid advertisement that people are doing. Um, let me see. So I'm going to ask, how should a person keep track of their expenses on a daily basis? What is the best way?
So the best way to do it on a daily basis, because most people do not use QuickBooks, they don't want to go
Well,
to
I
the
encourage all my students with QuickBooks because
great, and I
it's
do too.
easy and it tracks the mileage. It tracks that mileage form. You can send the invoices and you can match. It automatically does the mileage for you for
Yeah,
that invoice that I have.
yeah. So if you are doing that, and especially if you have your separate bank account and it's importing in, if you have the QuickBooks the QuickBooks Online that does the importing, then that's perfect. You'll be able to just import it in and add the transactions onto your profit and loss statement every day. If you're somebody
Okay.
who's not going to take the time to pay for QuickBooks or learn how to do QuickBooks, I would say to try to keep track of it either with your receipts or um, on Excel spreadsheets on a daily basis, either daily
Okay.
or weekly.
All right. So let me see. I am very new to this and just recently set up an LLC here in Texas, just so that I can use my EIN and not my social security number. What did you say about the additional $300 that Texas require for a LLC?
So if you already set up an LLC, then you've already paid the $300, unless you're a veteran where you got it for free. A regular LLC is $300 in Texas, but unlike the other states, it's not extra every year for the franchise tax. If you
Oh, I
just
see.
set your LLC up, you're going to get a letter stating that you have to go onto the comptroller website every year to do the franchise tax report. As long as you fill that out by the due date, which is May 15th here in Texas, there usually is no fee because most people do not make the things like 1.5 million in revenue before you have to pay any money on the franchise tax. So when I said
Okay.
the $300, it's the additional $300 to fill out the LLC form.
Okay. So someone said living below, she wants to hire her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, that's not. I guess what is your advice on I guess what she's asking pretty much is some people want to hire their kids
Yep.
as their payroll. So
Mm-hmm. As long as they're over 12, she's allowed to
as
do
long
that.
as they're over 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. How important is it for a notary to keep track of the income that they are receiving?
So I would say it's important because of the fact that there's nothing that's tracking you like a W 2 or anything like that. Like if I work at a regular job, I'm going to be W 2. Um, most people who are notaries, how do you guys collect? Do you collect with Square, Cash
Um,
App, Venmo?
no, my notaries, no Cash App.
Okay.
Um, we're definitely big on checks. So, well, not check. We get checks from the signing company. So the signing company will mail us a check. Sometimes it takes 30 to 45 days until we receive that check.
Hmm.
So we do checks. General notary work appointment. Normally, people will have Square or some type of POS system. You know that the
Okay.
bank issues
So you got,
out.
so you guys are set up through a company. You're not like independent.
Well, no, we are independent.
Okay.
Square. So we're independent workers. We're independent workers,
Okay.
but we're contract like a signing company will use us to complete their job and they'll pay us.
Okay. So what I mean by that is, do they give you guys a 1099 at the end of the year?
No, they give us a W-9.
No, you give them a W-9 and then they
Oh
give
yeah.
you a 1099. They give
Yeah,
you a
my
1099 at the
bad.
end of the year. No, you're
Yeah,
good.
they're
You're
supposed
good.
to about the 1099. Sometimes they don't. It just depending on
And you
it
just
depends
said
on how
it.
much money you make with the company.
You just said it. You just said it. So what happens is people will come in and they'll do like Square, they'll do the 1099K, stuff like that, where the companies don't send them 1099s, but they send them to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not keeping track of your numbers, you might under report, so to speak, where your Schedule C will say that you only had what about $15,000 in revenue, but the companies who are not sending you 1099s, they could still end up sending the 1099s to the IRS, and then the
Mm-hmm.
IRS is looking for that number. So that's why it's very important to still keep track of all the money that you collect. So many clients, when tax season comes, we try to collect all their 1099s from all the different contracts and stuff that they do. And they always say that everybody doesn't send them 1099s. And I tell them, like I'm about to tell you guys, as long as you're keeping track of your numbers, it doesn't matter what 1099s you're getting. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you know what your number is, if the IRS is saying that you've collected more money than you're keeping track of, that you know you've collected, then that's a problem. So then you need to go to the companies and say, hey, you guys are over, saying that you paid me more money than what I collected. But You don't need 1099s if you're actually keeping track of your money.
Okay. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Let's see. So someone says, as a home-based business, what amount can be written off as business? So I'm assuming maybe she's talking about the office space
Yep.
in your house.
hmm So the way
Okay.
that it works is, and I'll just use simple math. So let's say you have a 2,000 square foot house and your office is 2,000 square feet, then you can write off 10% of your household expenses, which are you can write off your mortgage interest, you can write off your property tax, you can write off your home insurance, you can write off your utilities, your phone, your cable. If somebody comes out and cuts your yard, you can write all that stuff off. You can write off any repairs that are done to the house. All of those things are on that Schedule D, I'm sorry, for a business use in your home. But you need to understand if your business is not profitable, you can only write off the mortgage interest and the property tax. Once the business is negative, you can't write off the other stuff that I said. You don't get the 10% for
Wow.
utilities, for insurance, for all that stuff. And like when someone asked before, if you're going to do depreciation on your home, that would be on the Schedule D as well.
Okay. Hold on. Just I missed a question. It says, can you claim fuel?
So you can, but you'd be better off doing the mileage because it's like 54 cents a mile.
Okay.
So there are people
Um,
who keep gas receipts and stuff like that, but you'd be better off just keeping your mileage.
just keeping track of the miles that you actually
Mhm.
travel.
Yeah.
And QuickBooks does that for you guys. It's an app on the phone. You just download it and use it to keep track of all your mobile notary appointments and your personal things too. You can separate it very easily on the app. So I already kind of answered the question, but I don't know if you know any other methods, but what is the best method for a notary to keep track of their expenses on a daily basis?
So again, it would be QuickBooks or the Excel spreadsheets. If it's something that QuickBooks are, and it's not just QuickBooks. There are clients that I have who use Wave, who use Zero. There's all types of different accounting software out here. I just say QuickBooks all the time because the majority of my clients are QuickBooks clients.
QuickBooks is easier, guys. You can even in the end, it is. It's easier. To me, it does everything for me. It's right there. Especially with the mileage, and it does invoicing. So that way, when I take cash, because what it is, with general notary work, a lot of times I take cash for general notary work appointments. No cards or nothing. And with that, I'm able to track how much cash I'm making versus before when I used to write out the receipts and then give it to them with just too much. I can create that invoice right in QuickBooks to be able to track my money a lot better. Let me see. Next question is, so why should someone hire someone like you to manage their finances?
So to be honest with you, depending on where you are in your business, I would definitely hire an accountant when you first start out, just to kind of
Okay.
set up to have what we're doing right now, to ask all the questions that you need to ask, to make sure that you're keeping track of everything you need to be keeping track of. I'm not really sure unless, depending on what your income is, what you're bringing in, especially if you're doing it like part time. A lot of my clients, I just meet them quarterly. And that's just to kind of go over their numbers to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. And then at the end of the year, they bring their profit and loss statement, or we work on their profit and loss statement to do their taxes. Um, just like any other business, if it's a business, when you're first starting out, unless you are really truly making a lot of money when you first start out, you kind of want to cut your expenses. And
Yep.
paying an accountant on a monthly basis is an expense that you're probably not going to want to do when you first start out. You definitely want to talk to someone when you first start out, though, so they can answer all the questions that we're going over today, to make sure that you're doing everything you need to do. And then if you need like a little tune up or questions like on a quarterly basis, then you can do that. But I would definitely hire somebody at the end of the year, as opposed to trying to continue to do something like TurboTax or going to
Mm,
H&R Block or something like that. It is really worth the money to actually hire an accountant to talk to you about the different types of write-offs that you can write off. Make sure you're getting every expense that you can actually get from your business. So it's definitely worth it at the end of the year to hire an accountant to help you as opposed to doing TurboTax or something like that. But during the year, I usually tell people when we first start out, um, the first consultation is when we pretty much talk about everything that they need to be keeping track of and stuff like that. And then depending on the size of their business, then that's when we decide if we want to meet monthly, quarterly, or just annually.
Okay. You already answered the question I was going to ask you. Exactly, what platform should people use to file their taxes? And you already, let us know about, the TurboTax, and doing the taxes yourself is probably not the best decision when it comes to, with running your business.
Definitely not the first year.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see. I got one more. We already answered those questions. So let me see if we have any questions in the comments. Okay, so she asked, what determines profitable? So what is considered profitable for her business, I guess?
Okay. So basically, once you take your revenue and then you take away all of your expenses, I know that sounds pretty simple to say, okay, my business is profitable, but you'll see when you're doing your business at the beginning of as you're going along doing your profit and loss statement, your business might look profitable. And I thought we were going to get to the tax. We probably are going to get to the tax question on that. So when people do profit and loss statements to see if their business is profitable, they really get to worrying and stuff like that because they think that they have profit left over after all their expenses. But the things that you're not counting from a tax standpoint are mileage and business use in your home. When you take those two things into effect when you're doing your Schedule C, it could turn a profitable business into a negative business, or it can definitely bring your profit down.
Wow. Yeah.
Because of the write-offs that you can write off that do not show up on your profit and loss statement.
Wow. So I never, well, I actually had knew that a little bit, but it's definitely good information for my audience. Let me see. Does anyone have any more questions here in the comments? Do you have anything, Eric, that you would like to say or address about with the notaries? Because the biggest problem is with the notaries is that uh, is kind of like a small niche. Not a lot of people do it. So, when we are looking for people to assist us with taxes and trying to file, we can't get the answers just because there's not a lot of people who has experience, with notaries and really how their business runs.
Yeah. Probably the biggest thing I would say to people, and again, I'm just going to say for any business, when somebody comes in and they want to start their business and they do a lot of studying and looking up stuff, everybody comes in and they say, I don't think we've talked about this yet. A lot of people come in and they say, I'm being told I need to be an S Corp, or I'm being told I need to be this or that. And when we sit down, I say, well, why are you supposed to be that or whatever? A lot of times people just don't know. They just hear these type of things and they think that's what they're supposed to do as a business. And not just that, when we talked earlier about the LLC and the DBA, those are things that you really need to sit down and talk to somebody about to make sure, because again, I'm going to say it one more time, the biggest thing with the business when you're first starting out is you want to really be lean, meaning you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, especially, let's be honest, a lot of people have businesses that don't succeed. They just don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are starting this business and you are spending way more money than necessary because you went out and got an LLC or an S Corp, or you went out and bought a bunch of T-shirts, or you went out and bought a bunch of business
Promotional
cards.
items.
Yeah, you
Right.
bought a bunch of stuff to make your business great, and then it doesn't pan out, then this is just money that you ended up spending. So I would definitely say that you need to get a business plan. You need to really think about how you plan on making money, how you plan on marketing yourself, and what you believe it's going to grow to.
All right. That's actually great advice. Tell you the truth, I tell all my students about the expenses, keeping it down, not going out. Because I made this mistakes myself. Went out, bought these cute pens and, bought all this
Yeah,
stuff
all these
from
T-shirts you paint with your business on it, and
Vistaprint will get you. Vistaprint will definitely get you because you go for business cards, but then next thing you know, when you go at the cart, they got They had pins, all kinds of promotional items that you think that you need. So let me ask you a question about how does gifting work? So basically, this is what happens. Notary signing agents go network and title companies, and sometimes they might, send coffee or offer, some donuts and play. Is that something that is a
Yep.
business expense?
Yep. There's a
Okay.
line on your Schedule C for that. So yeah, you can write those off
Okay.
as well.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions we have, Eric. And we're at 30 minutes. Oh, this we got one more. We're gonna answer this one more question. Reading Sandy Botkins, lower your taxes. Would you advise business owners to read?
So I've never heard of her, but I would definitely recommend it if that is someone who's talking about lowering your taxes. I read
Okay.
books like that all the time. I've just never heard of her. But if
So
that's
who do
something
you
that's
read?
so I read more of I read a lot of Damon John. I read Darren Hardy. Um, I watch a lot of Boyce Watkins. Because I'm a financial coach as well. I watch a lot of Chris Hogan, Anthony O'Neill.
I love Chris
People like,
Hogan.
yeah, I'm
Everyday
not really a
Millionaire.
big Dave Ramsey fan. So I rather listen to Chris than Dave. So I listen to a lot of Chris Hogan. I listen to a lot of Boyce Watkins, Anthony O'Neill, people like that.
Okay, so we reading from the same playbook, Eric, because that's who
Hmm.
I listen to. Also, Anthony O'Neill, and I did read Everyday Millionaires.
Yeah. Retire
Still
rich.
reading it.
Yeah.
Definitely inspiring story. For anyone who is curious, it's definitely a good book. This is gonna be the last thing because we have 31. So can we go back to this? Only and uh, if only an LLC can open a business account, what if you're operating as a DBA?
Okay. So as I said before, you need to go to your bank because there are banks, believe it or not, there are very, very few here that will let you open up a business account as a DBA. They just need you to do your DBA and your EIN number. I've even had clients who actually went to the bank. They didn't have an EIN number, and the bank went right online because it takes 2 minutes to get an EIN number. You just go to the IRS website and just do it, and it'll print it out right then and there. But there are actual banks that make you get an LLC. So if they make you do that, then that's when the clients come here. We fill out the LLC paperwork. Some banks even ask for an operating agreement as well. If you just have a DBA, you don't want to do an LLC, and you can't open a bank account, it goes back to what we said before, where you just be doing everything out of that account. And you just
Okay.
need to separate them. You just need to
All
make
right.
sure that you separate all your business revenue and all your business expenses from your personal. You don't want to continue to do that for a long time. But again, if you're just starting out and you're not sure if you want to be an LLC yet, it's fine. It's just more of a headache for you or more of a headache for the person doing your taxes because if you are bringing in your bank statements to do your taxes, and like I said, people come in and they'll have like uh, yellow marks and green marks, and like this is gas and this is food and this and that. So it makes it a little bit more more time consuming if you're using a personal account as opposed to a business account, but you can do it.
Okay. So basically, what I got from this is everyone need to one open another account, a business account. Um, or if you don't open a business account, make sure you keep record and track of your finances using you can use an Excel sheet or anything. I know with the notary sign agent business could be a little hard just because on when we receive our payments, sometimes be 60 days
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So this let me ask you a question. So what about if someone completed a loan signing last year, but they didn't get their check until the following year? Where will that income fall under?
So if you are going to, which I would tell you to be, everybody knows what a cash basis uh, compared to an accrual basis is, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So if you're going to remain cash basis, then you just wouldn't show it as income until next year. So if you're an accrual
Okay.
basis, you would have accounts receivable and all that stuff. So it would show up on your accounts receivable as income for the prior year. But if you're cash basis, it's only going to show up when you collect the cash.
Okay, awesome. Well, that is great information. Eric, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for answering these questions. I'm sure people are going to be contacting you after this video.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, no problem, guys. So Eric, you have a great evening.
You guys as
And
well.
I hope to network with you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, guys. So Eric provided some great valuable information. I'm going to hop off, guys. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me at thenotaryinstitution@gmail.com, or you can just type it right here in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Guys, thank you for joining. I'm really excited, to be honest, about this information that I was able to put out to you all. But guys, make sure you send out messages if you have any questions, and thank you for tuning in.